The authority runs all kind of end the same way. The McMahons are in charge. They have the authority figures they hire. How did you navigate that?
Well, you sign on as the GM, and you're almost like a soap opera star, but instead of dying, you get fired. That's how they all end, right? And so all I wanted was for a proper firing. And when I had the chance, the firing itself was good. The week before I got fired was one of the best things I think that I've done in the last 10 years. So much so that I felt like I'd had a big pay-per-view match. I was just so content. Ironically, it was the first time I'd been on the McMahon corporate jet in at least 10 years. They flew me home because there was a big snowstorm coming and they wanted me to get out of there. They knew I had my volunteer work that I did in December. Didn't want to say too much with the kids here. And I just remember like just feeling really good about that. If I could give you one story, illustrates the dichotomy of chemistry working with Stephanie, is that in my third week in that role, I think it was after 2 weeks, Triple H came back. He interfered in a match between Seth Rollins and
Kevin Owens.
And Kevin Owens won the title. And we were at a crossroads, right? Stephanie's husband has just screwed over, interfered. And the way it was written was now Stephanie and I are, black. There's no gray areas. She's bad. I'm good. And I said, there's no room for growth here. There's nothing interesting here. And I talked to Stephanie about it, and she goes, no, my dad, he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't. She said she had this verbiage that she had written where she was like, Mick, honestly, I wanted to call you, but I didn't know what to say. And Vince shot that down because he didn't want her to look sympathetic. So I went in, and one of the few times I talked to Vince, and I talked to him about 20 minutes, and I was trying to tell him, I was like, Vince, but the real heat comes from when you believe in her a little bit. And I tried saying, like, which student is a teacher more angry at? The one who has no potential to be good, or the one that she bends over backwards for, gives a helping hand to, who in the end lets her down? I said, it's more heat if Stephanie turns out to have been playing me the whole time. He's like, I'm sorry, Mick, I just don't see it that way. And he gave me like 1/10 of what I wanted. It was really frustrating. And when I got out of the room, Stephanie was there and she goes, let's do it our way. And so she basically commandeered the crew, and we cut our promo without any rehearsal, any verbiage, like a renegade type of backstage promo. And I decided to call on the real life fact that the first time I met Stephanie was 10 minutes after the Hell in a Cell match, where she claims I still had the front tooth lodged in my nose. We'd found out that Pat Patterson had lost his partner of 30 years during that show. I walked into Mr. McMahon's office. I gave Pat this big hug, and I see Mrs. McMahon. And standing next to Mrs. McMahon is this young lady I'd never seen, who turns out to be Stephanie. And so there was a realism in that promo, and it was intense, and it was good. And just as we're finishing, we see Mr. McMahon coming out of his office. He goes, what the hell's going on here? And she goes, Dad, Mick and I just tried a promo a certain way. We'd like you to look at it. And I start to walk away, and Vince goes, where the hell are you going? I said, I'll be right here with you. It was a 3-minute promo, and he watched it like this. He was leaned over, he was looking at the monitor. And about 30 seconds passed after the promo was finished. He didn't say a word. And finally he goes, we'll do it your way. And I got what I wanted, which was a really good firing.